Here we're going to look at the midpoint formula. So if we have 2 points on a graph, so let's just look at quadrant 1, but these points can be anywhere, just like with the distance formula. So let's say we have a point here and we'll call it x1, y1, and then a point here and we'll call it x2, y2. So if we want to find the point that is exactly in the middle of these 2 points, so if we were to imagine, as I've drawn here, a line segment connecting the points, the midpoint would be a point perfectly in the middle of this line segment. Okay. So the way we want to do this is, so we're essentially finding the center of these 2 points. And a common way to find the center is to find the average or the mean. So that's exactly what we want to do for each individual coordinate. So we want to find the average of the x coordinates and the average of the y coordinates. So we've called this one x1, y1, and this one x2, y2. So the midpoint then, which should be another point, right? So it should have its own x and y coordinates, will be the x coordinate will be the average of the 2 x coordinates. So this means that we add them together and we divide by 2. So a reminder of how to take the average: you add up the total number of values and then you divide by however many values there are. So in this case, we add up the 2 values and then we divide by 2 because there are 2 of them. And then we'll do the same with the y coordinates. So this will give us our midpoint. So let's see how this works now with some actual points. So again, we'll keep it to the first quadrant just to make the numbers a little easier. So let's just draw a few spaces here. Let's say these have distance 1. So let's say we have a point at 2, 1 and maybe 4, 3. Okay, so this is 2, 1 and 4, 3. So if we're looking for the midpoint, it'll be a point right exactly in the middle of these 2 points. So we're looking at somewhere around like right here. So we can check that our answer makes sense in this context. So it looks kind of like 3, 2, but hand drawing it, of course, is not reliable. So it might be a little bit off of that. But let's go ahead and look for the midpoint then. So we'll take the average of the x coordinates, so we add them together, 4 plus 2, and divide by 2. And the average of the y coordinates, so 3 plus 1 divided by 2. So we're going to get 6 divided by 2 and 4 divided by 2, and it looks like it is exactly at the point 3, 2. Okay. Oops, let me scroll down here. So let's do one more example now. We'll include some negatives this time. It won't change anything, but just to see an example with this one. So again, we'll say these tick marks have distance 1. So maybe we'll do -2, -1, and maybe 1, 1. So we'll look at a negative point and a positive point here. So -2, -1, 1, 1. It's a little bit harder to judge where this is going to end up. It doesn't look like it's quite the origin, maybe like right there. Again, hand drawing is not reliable, so this is why we need to do the math and use the formula. So again, we'll add the x coordinates together. So we do 1 plus -2 and divide that by 2. And then we'll add the y coordinates together. 1 plus -1 divided by 2. So we will get -1 divided by 2, and we can't make that any simpler, so we'll just leave it as is, -1/2. And then over here we have 0 divided by 2, which will of course just be 0. So we end up with -1/2, 0, and this will be our midpoint. So a little bit off from where I was guessing here. So -1/2 right in between -1 and 0, and then on the y-axis we don't move at all, so we're at 0.